Joining me on the show is Mark Linscott of USISPF to understand the trade relationship and the trade deal that US-India are very close to signing. Mr. Linscott, thanks so much for speaking to NDTV. Let me start by first asking you the fact that there are great trade uncertainties in Trump 2.0 right now. How is India navigating those?
Well, it's been very interesting to observe multiple countries that were hit with reciprocal tariffs and now are in a period of reprieve, this period of suspension of the reciprocal tariffs, and an effort being made to negotiate individual bilateral trade deals, tariff deals. Some have threatened retaliatory tariffs in response. India certainly has not done that. I think India has played it very smartly, even going back before the announcement on the reciprocal tariffs. Prime Minister Modi was here in February, almost immediately after inauguration. His trade minister, Minister Gaurie, came to Washington soon after that, met with Jamieson Greer, his counterpart, for trade negotiations. When the reciprocal tariffs were announced on so-called Liberation Day, the government released a statement, which I thought was very measured, very short, very neutral. In fact, it referenced looking forward to negotiations, but it did not play the blame game. And I thought that was the right way to play it. I thought it put things on a path to progress on trade going forward.
The Treasury Secretary has actually said that India will be one of the first set of deals that US will sign. How much of a breakthrough do you think on trade pacts has been achieved, and what kind of an impact this will have on the overall trade relationship between India and US?
Well, broadly, it's very unpredictable. In fact, the whole scenario of tariffs, tariff announcements, reciprocal tariffs, reprieves, exceptions has been very difficult to predict, and it's very challenging to track. It's clear that there's a desire on the part of the Trump administration to negotiate some trade deals as quickly as possible. The markets reacted very negatively to the reciprocal tariffs when they were announced, and consequently, we've had this reprieve. And I think that there's a strong desire to fix things as quickly as possible. But that said, I spent a career as a U.S. trade negotiator over a number of decades. I've negotiated with a variety of foreign counterparts, both in the context of the World Trade Organization and in free trade agreements, and even short of that. For example, I was the first chief negotiator for a U.S.-Indian trade deal on GSP, Generalized System of Preferences, and it's never easy. I mean, these don't happen overnight or even in a matter of weeks. And with multiple simultaneous negotiations going on, it's it creates a real bandwidth issue for the U.S. negotiating team. So, maybe there will be some shortcuts to deals. Maybe there will be some very limited deals that allow for continuing suspension of tariffs. I certainly hope that's the case with India, but I think it's a big challenge. And again, these aren't done in a matter of days. It will take time.
And finally, sir, do you think there are still some roadblocks or any specific sectors that are turning out to be a bit of a deal breaker, the reason why this is taking longer, the negotiations?
Yeah, I wouldn't describe them as roadblocks. I don't think we have a situation in which either side is creating obstacles to making progress. It's clear that there's a strong desire on both sides to move forward, to strike a tariff deal as quickly as possible, to continue with the broader BTA negotiations, the bilateral trade agreement negotiations, conclude a first tranche by the fall. That is a mutual desire, and it's potentially mutually beneficial. But that said, again, trade issues are never easy. Their tariffs are never easy. To open one's market by eliminating tariffs on a broad scale across many sectors does raise issues and complications, even in areas like, where is this product from? What are the rules of origin to determine that that certain products are actually coming from India? So it's not an issue of roadblocks. It's just that these are complex issues. They they require expertise. They require consultation with stakeholders. They require creativity to come up with solutions, and that can take time. So that's why I think it's not being done overnight. I think strong efforts are being made, and hopefully we will have a tariff deal in the near future.
Mr. Linscott, thank you so much. Really appreciate you joining me on NDTV to decode what is really the biggest story and the biggest issue with regard to the India-US relationship.